Have you ever imagined a country where happiness is more than just a feeling? It's a national policy? A place hidden in the heart of the Himalayas, where the landscape is as pristine as it was centuries ago, and the people prioritize spiritual well-being over material wealth. Welcome to Bhutan, the land of the thunder dragon, where ancient monasteries stand tall, prayer flags flutter in the wind, and the air is filled with a deep sense of peace. In this video, we'll take you on a journey to explore Bhutan's captivating history, its groundbreaking approach to happiness, and its harmonious relationship with nature. By the end, you'll see why this small Himalayan kingdom has become a global symbol for sustainable living. Nestled between the towering peaks of the Himalayas, Bhutan is a small, landlocked nation with a population of around 770,000 as of 2023. The capital city, Thimphu, sits at an altitude of 2,320 meters, 7,656 feet, surrounded by lush green hills and flowing rivers. While Bhutan's story begins in ancient times, it is the modern era that has brought the country into the global spotlight. Bhutan's transformation commenced in 1907 when Ugyen Wangchuck was crowned as the first king, establishing the Wangchuck dynasty, which continues to this day. The kingdom remained largely isolated until the mid-20th century, with minimal contact with the outside world. It wasn't until 1974, under the reign of King Jigme Singye Wangchuck, that Bhutan opened its doors to international tourism. This forward-thinking decision was coupled with the introduction of gross national happiness, GNH, a concept that measures the nation's success not by GDP, but by the happiness and well-being of its citizens. In 2008, Bhutan made a remarkable political shift by transitioning to a constitutional monarchy. That same year, Jigme Khesar Namgyel Wangchuck ascended to the throne as Bhutan's fifth king, ushering in a new era of democratic governance while preserving the kingdom's deep-rooted traditions. While Bhutan's geographical isolation has helped to preserve its culture and natural environment, it also presents challenges. Nevertheless, the government has remained steadfast in its commitment to sustainable development. In fact, Bhutan became the world's first carbon-negative country in 2015, thanks to its extensive forest cover. Nearly 72% of the country is forested, and its reliance on hydropower for energy. Bhutan generates more electricity from renewable sources than it needs, exporting the surplus to neighboring India. Bhutan's philosophy of gross national happiness, or GNH, was introduced in 1972 by King Jigme Singye Wangchuck. What sets Bhutan apart from other nations is its focus on the well-being of its people over mere economic growth. GNH is built around four key pillars: sustainable and equitable socio-economic development, environmental conservation, preservation and promotion of culture, and good governance. This holistic approach includes 9 domains, such as psychological well-being, health, education, and environmental sustainability, ensuring that development is centered on people and respects social, cultural, and environmental values. GNH has gained global attention, with the United Nations recognizing it as a model for sustainable development in 2011. In 2013, Bhutan hosted an international conference on GNH, attracting experts from around the world to explore how similar measures could be implemented in other countries. The commitment to GNH is regularly assessed through national surveys. In the most recent survey in 2022, an impressive 91.2% of Bhutanese reported feeling happy, with 45.2% identifying as deeply happy. This reflects Bhutan's unique approach to prioritizing happiness and well-being in its development strategies. The spiritual identity of Bhutan is deeply rooted in its history, beginning with the arrival of Guru Padmasambhava in the 8th century. He is credited with bringing Tantric Buddhism to Bhutan, shaping the nation's spiritual landscape. One of the most iconic stories associated with him is his legendary flight on the back of a tigress to Paro Taktsang, known as the Tiger's Nest Monastery. Today, this stunning monastery, perched high on a cliffside at 3,120 meters, 10,240 feet, is considered one of the most important pilgrimage sites in the Buddhist world. Buddhism's influence permeates everyday life in Bhutan, which is evident in its culture, architecture, and traditions. In 1637, Jabdrung Ngawang Namgyal, a Tibetan lama and military leader, unified the country and built the first of many dzongs, fortress monasteries that serve as both administrative and religious centers. The most famous of these dzongs is Punakha Dzong, which still operates as the winter residence of Bhutan's central monk body. It also serves as a significant site for royal coronations and weddings, highlighting the deep connection between the spiritual and the political in Bhutan. This rich spiritual heritage not only defines Bhutan's identity, but also guides its path toward modernity, ensuring that tradition and faith continue to play a vital role in the lives of its people. Bhutan's rugged geography is a key factor in its preservation and environmental integrity. The country, with an average elevation of 2,400 meters, 7,874 feet, is dominated by the majestic eastern Himalayan mountain range. Its highest peak, Gangkar Puensum, rises to 7,570 meters, 2,436 feet, and holds the title of the tallest unclimbed mountain in the world. This is largely due to Bhutan's ban on mountaineering, which aims to preserve the sanctity of its majestic peaks. The kingdom's dedication to environmental stewardship is embedded in its constitution, which mandates that at least 60% of its land area must remain forested at all times. This policy has positioned Bhutan as a global leader in conservation. In 2021, the government launched the Bhutan for Life initiative, a comprehensive conservation project focused on sustainably managing and funding the country's protected areas for future generations. Bhutan is also home to a rich biodiversity, featuring unique species such as the taking, its national animal, found only in the eastern Himalayas. Other iconic wildlife includes the elusive snow leopard, the Bengal tiger, and the red panda. Protecting these species is a top priority for Bhutan, leading to the implementation of strict anti-poaching laws and habitat protection measures. Through these efforts, Bhutan demonstrates its commitment to preserving its natural wonders and maintaining a balance between development and environmental protection. Bhutan's official language is Dzongkha, a Tibetan-derived language spoken widely across the country. However, the nation's rich ethnic diversity means that several other languages, such as Sharchapka, Lhotshamka, and Nepali, are also part of everyday life. English is the medium of instruction in schools, contributing to a notable literacy rate of 71.4% as of 2021. Bhutan's literary heritage is profoundly influenced by Buddhist teachings, with many ancient texts and manuscripts reflecting its spiritual foundations. In recent years, modern Bhutanese literature has begun to thrive. A significant milestone occurred in 2013 when Kunzang Chodon became the first Bhutanese woman to publish a novel in English. Her book, The Circle of Karma, explores Bhutanese social customs and gender roles, showcasing a growing interest in contemporary literature while still honoring traditional writings. This evolving literary scene enriches Bhutan's linguistic and cultural diversity, highlighting the interplay between modernity and tradition in the nation's storytelling. Bhutan is the world's only carbon-negative country, a status it proudly maintains through extensive forest cover and a national commitment to environmental conservation enshrined in its constitution. The constitution mandates that at least 60% of the country must remain forested for all time. Currently, over 70% of Bhutan's land area is covered by forests, and 51% is designated as protected areas, including national parks, wildlife sanctuaries, and nature reserves. Nestled in the eastern Himalayas, Bhutan is one of the most biodiverse regions on Earth, hosting around 5,600 plant species, including 46 types of rhododendron and the iconic blue poppy, Bhutan's national flower. The country is also home to an impressive range of wildlife, such as tigers, snow leopards, red pandas, and the taking, Bhutan's national animal. The taking is a unique species said to have been created by the 15th century Buddhist saint, Lama Drukpa Kunli, known as the Divine Madman. Bhutan's forests serve as significant carbon sinks, absorbing millions of tons of carbon dioxide annually. According to a 2017 report from the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change, Bhutan sequesters over 6 million tons of CO2 each year, while its total emissions are less than 2 million tons, affirming its carbon-negative status. Despite these achievements, Bhutan faces challenges from climate change, particularly the melting of glaciers in the Himalayas. This poses risks such as glacial lake outburst floods, GLUFs, which can result in devastating floods downstream. A notable incident occurred in 1994 when the Lug Sho glacial lake burst, flooding the Punakha Valley. Since then, the government has implemented measures to reduce GLUF risks, including early warning systems and draining some glacial lakes to prevent future disasters. Bhutan has a remarkable political history characterized by a peaceful transition from an absolute monarchy to a democratic constitutional monarchy. This unique journey was driven by the royal family itself. In 1616, Jabdrung Ngawang Namgyal unified Bhutan, establishing a dual government system with both secular and religious leaders. Bhutan became a hereditary monarchy in 1907 under the Wangchuck dynasty, with Ugyen Wangchuck as the first Druk Gyalpo, or Dragon King. The fourth king, Jigme Singye Wangchuck, initiated significant political reforms that paved the way for democracy, culminating in Bhutan's transition in 2008. He is also credited with developing the concept of gross national happiness, GNH, focusing on sustainable development and cultural preservation rather than just GDP. In a historic decision, King Jigme Singye Wangchuck abdicated in 2006, handing the throne to his son, King Jigme Khesar Namgyal Wangchuck, and announcing the shift to parliamentary democracy. Bhutan held its first democratic elections in 2008 and adopted a new constitution, establishing a constitutional monarchy with democratic governance. A standout feature of Bhutan's political philosophy is gross national happiness, introduced by King Jigme Singye Wangchuck in the 1970s. GNH measures the happiness and well-being of citizens across 9 domains, such as psychological well-being, health, and education. Unlike many countries focused solely on economic growth, Bhutan's GNH approach prioritizes people-centered development and social, cultural, and environmental values. The latest GNH survey in 2022 indicated that 91.2% of Bhutanese reported being happy, with 45.2% feeling deeply happy. Since the transition to democracy, Bhutan has held 3 elections, primarily featuring the People's Democratic Party, PDP, and the Druk Phuntsum Shogpa, DPT. The National Assembly has 47 members elected every 5 years, while the National Council comprises 25 members, 20 elected and 5 appointed by the king. The Prime Minister is the head of government, while the Druk Gyalpo, king, serves as the ceremonial head of state, influencing key areas like security and culture. As of 2024, Lote Tshering, from the Druk Nyamrup Shogpa Party, serves as Prime Minister. Bhutan follows a non-alignment policy but maintains strong ties with India, its closest ally, which provides substantial financial and technical assistance. The Treaty of Friendship, revised in 2007, ensures India's support in Bhutan's foreign policy and defense. Bhutan joined the United Nations in 1971 and actively participates in organizations like the South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation, ARC, and the World Trade Organization, WTO. The nation is also committed to environmental diplomacy, advocating for global climate action. While Bhutan has made significant strides in political and social reforms, the country still grapples with several challenges. Another challenge arises from rural-urban migration. Many young Bhutanese are moving to cities like Thimphu in search of better job opportunities. This trend strains urban infrastructure and could potentially create a disconnect from Bhutan's traditional values and way of life if not managed carefully. Despite these challenges, Bhutan's commitment to sustainable development and its capacity for adaptation offer hope. Under the leadership of King Jigme Khesar Namgyal Wangchuck, the country continues to prioritize gross national happiness. This approach seeks to balance modernization with the preservation of traditional values. Bhutan's rich cultural heritage is deeply intertwined with its Buddhist traditions, shaping nearly every facet of daily life. Approximately 75% of the population practices Drukpa Kagyu Buddhism, a branch of Mahayana Buddhism, while the remaining 25%, mainly from the Lhotshampa community in southern Bhutan, adhere to Hinduism. The spiritual foundation of Bhutan was established in the 8th century by Guru Rinpoche, also known as Padmasambhava. He introduced Tantric Buddhism, transforming Bhutan into a deeply spiritual nation. His legacy is celebrated through vibrant festivals known as Shechis, held annually in honor of his teachings. The most renowned of these is the Paro Chechu, where monks perform cham dances in elaborate masks and costumes, reenacting significant Buddhist stories. A highlight of this festival is the unfurling of the Thongdrel, a massive embroidered banner believed to cleanse viewers of sin. Bhutan proudly preserves its cultural identity through traditional attire. Men wear the go, a knee-length robe tied at the waist, while women don the kira, a long, ankle-length dress. These garments are worn in public institutions and formal events, symbolizing the nation's cultural pride and unity. The landscape of Bhutan is adorned with significant religious and cultural landmarks. The Taktsang Monastery, or Tiger's Nest, dramatically clings to a cliffside at 3,120 meters, 10,240 feet above sea level, where it's said that Guru Rinpoche meditated. Another important site is Punakha Dzong, Bhutan's second oldest fortress, which served as the administrative center and still hosts the annual Punakha Dramcha Festival. This festival celebrates Bhutan's historic victory over Tibetan invaders in 1639. Bhutan has made significant strides in the development of education and healthcare, two key pillars that have substantially contributed to the country's modernization and rapid growth over the past few decades. Before the 1960s, Bhutan's education system was largely monastic, with Buddhist monasteries serving as the primary providers of formal education. However, with the reforms initiated by King Jigme Dorji Wangchuck, Bhutan introduced modern schooling, establishing a widespread network of public schools, vocational training institutes, and colleges throughout the country. Education is now free for all citizens, and the government has placed a strong emphasis on expanding access, particularly in rural areas. This commitment fosters a more inclusive educational environment for all Bhutanese people. The Royal University of Bhutan stands as the nation's main institution for higher education, with various colleges offering degrees in fields such as engineering, business, and liberal arts. Notable institutions include the College of Science and Technology and Sharubsa College, which was founded in 1966 and has become a cornerstone of higher learning in Bhutan. The literacy rate in Bhutan has seen remarkable improvement. It stood at only 30% in 1990, but by 2022, it had risen to over 71.4%. This significant progress reflects the country's dedication to enhancing educational opportunities and outcomes for its citizens. Bhutan's education system also emphasizes gross national happiness, aiming to cultivate well-rounded citizens capable of contributing to the nation's holistic development. Bhutan's healthcare system has also transformed since the 1960s. Prior to this period, healthcare services were limited and heavily reliant on traditional Buddhist medicine. Today, Bhutan offers universal healthcare that is free for all citizens, with a comprehensive network of hospitals, health units, and outreach clinics available across the nation, including in remote regions. The healthcare system is overseen by the Ministry of Health, with the Jigme Dorji Wangchuck National Referral Hospital in Thimphu serving as the flagship facility. This extensive network ensures that even the most isolated communities have access to essential healthcare services. Bhutan uniquely integrates traditional medicine with modern healthcare practices. The Institute of Traditional Medicine in Thimphu trains practitioners in herbal and spiritual healing methods, respecting Bhutan's cultural heritage while providing effective medical care. Health outcomes in Bhutan have dramatically improved over the years. Life expectancy has risen significantly from just 34 years in the early 1960s to 72.4 years in 2023. The country's vaccination programs have achieved near universal coverage, demonstrating the effectiveness of its public health initiatives. During the COVID-19 pandemic, Bhutan garnered global recognition for its rapid vaccination efforts, successfully immunizing 90% of its adult population. This achievement showcased the country's ability to respond effectively to public health crises. Despite these advancements, Bhutan now faces new challenges, particularly the rise of non-communicable diseases like hypertension and diabetes, especially in urban areas. This shift in health trends prompts the government to focus on preventive healthcare and public awareness campaigns to effectively address these emerging health issues. Since the 1960s, Bhutan's economy has undergone a remarkable transformation, shifting from subsistence farming to a more diversified and modernized system. While a significant portion of the population still relies on agriculture, the country has made impressive strides, especially in the field of hydropower. The fast-flowing rivers that cascade down Bhutan's mountainous terrain provide a substantial renewable energy source, allowing Bhutan to export electricity to neighboring countries, particularly India. Despite these economic advancements, Bhutan remains committed to balancing growth with cultural and environmental preservation. The nation's approach to modernization emphasizes sustainability, ensuring that progress aligns with traditional values and ecological integrity. Agriculture plays a vital role in Bhutan's economy, engaging over 50% of the population and providing livelihoods for many, especially in rural areas. The primary crops cultivated include staples like rice, maize, potatoes, and wheat. These crops form the backbone of Bhutan's agricultural production, supporting local communities with essential food supplies. In the highland regions, livestock farming is equally important. Farmers raise cattle, yaks, and sheep, which contribute significantly to the country's meat and dairy production. Additionally, Bhutanese farmers cultivate various fruits, including oranges, apples, and pears. These fruits not only cater to local consumption, but are also exported to neighboring countries like India and Bangladesh, bolstering Bhutan's trade. In a bold move towards sustainability, Bhutan has committed to becoming the world's first 100% organic country by 2035. As of 2016, over 60% of the nation's arable land had already transitioned to organic cultivation. The government actively promotes organic farming, equipping farmers with the training and resources needed to adopt environmentally friendly practices. This commitment aligns seamlessly with Bhutan's philosophy of gross national happiness, which prioritizes the well-being of citizens and environmental sustainability. Hydropower serves as a crucial economic lifeline for Bhutan, accounting for over 27% of the country's GDP and nearly 40% of its revenue. The mountainous terrain and fast-flowing rivers make Bhutan ideally suited for hydropower generation. The country has leveraged this natural resource, exporting the majority of its electricity to India under bilateral agreements. A notable example is the Tala hydroelectric project, commissioned in 2007, which has a capacity of 1,120 megawatts and significantly contributes to Bhutan's foreign exchange earnings. As of 2023, Bhutan's installed hydropower capacity stands at approximately 2,335 megawatts, with additional projects like Punat Sangchu and 2 under development. The government aims to generate 10,000 megawatts of hydropower by 2030, a goal that not only promises economic growth, but also helps maintain the nation's carbon-negative status. However, the government remains cautious about future expansions, carefully considering the environmental impacts and sustainability of large-scale projects. Beyond hydropower, Bhutan's commitment to sustainability extends to its overall energy policies. Almost all of the electricity generated in the country comes from renewable sources. Bhutan is also making significant strides in electrifying rural areas, with over 99.97% of households gaining access to electricity as of 2023. The National Environment Commission oversees the implementation and monitoring of Bhutan's environmental policies. In recognition of its sustainable development efforts, Bhutan received commendation at the UN Conference on Sustainable Development in 2012. Moreover, in 2015, Bhutan reaffirmed its commitment to remaining carbon neutral by submitting its nationally determined contributions in line with the Paris Agreement. In 2019, Bhutan launched the Bhutan for Life initiative in partnership with the World Wildlife Fund to secure long-term funding for its protected areas and biodiversity. This initiative ensures that Bhutan continues to lead in conservation efforts, safeguarding its natural resources for future generations. Ultimately, Bhutan's approach to development is guided by its commitment to gross national happiness, rather than simply focusing on gross domestic product. The country aims to strike a balance between economic growth, environmental sustainability, cultural preservation, and good governance. In a landmark achievement, Bhutan became the first carbon-negative country in the world in 2015, absorbing more carbon dioxide through its forests than it emits. Forests cover over 71% of Bhutan's land area, and the government has pledged to maintain at least 60% forest cover indefinitely. Despite these achievements, Bhutan faces significant challenges, particularly in reducing poverty in rural areas and addressing the growing problem of youth unemployment. Tourism serves as a cornerstone of Bhutan's economy, approached strategically through a high-value, low-impact policy. This initiative aims to protect the country's rich cultural heritage and pristine natural environment. To ensure this, the Tourism Council of Bhutan mandates that all international visitors, excluding citizens of India, Bangladesh, and the Maldives, pay a daily tariff ranging from $200 to $250, depending on the season. This tariff covers accommodation, meals, transportation, and a licensed guide, generating significant revenue while minimizing the adverse effects of mass tourism that have impacted neighboring Himalayan countries like Nepal. In 2019, Bhutan welcomed around 316,000 tourists, contributing over $89 million to the national economy. However, the COVID-19 pandemic led to a sharp decline in tourist arrivals, forcing the country to temporarily close its borders. Bhutan reopened in September 2022, emphasizing responsible tourism practices. The Sustainable Development Fee, now set at $200 per day, supports conservation projects and infrastructure development, ensuring that tourism remains environmentally sustainable and culturally respectful. By carefully regulating tourism, Bhutan seeks to balance economic growth with the preservation of its unique cultural and natural resources. Bhutan has embraced a unique approach to tourism, emphasizing high-value, low-impact strategies. This policy aims to attract a limited number of visitors willing to pay a premium for an authentic cultural experience while minimizing the negative impacts of mass tourism. The country mandates that tourists, excluding citizens from India, Bangladesh, and the Maldives, pay a minimum daily tariff that includes accommodations, meals, transportation, and a licensed guide. This strategy not only protects Bhutan's cultural heritage and natural environment, but also ensures that tourism directly benefits local communities. By limiting the number of tourists and enforcing high standards, Bhutan manages its resources sustainably and maintains the integrity of its cultural practices. As part of its tourism policy, Bhutan implements a tourist tax included in the daily tariff. This tax funds conservation efforts, infrastructure development, and community projects. In 2022, the government introduced a $200 per day tax for foreign tourists, aimed at enhancing tourism quality and supporting sustainable development initiatives. While this tax has raised concerns about accessibility and affordability for some travelers, it has effectively generated revenue for the country. It ensures that the tourism industry remains sustainable and that local communities benefit from the influx of visitors. The revenue generated is often directed toward environmental protection initiatives and social programs that improve the quality of life for Bhutanese citizens. Traveling to Bhutan involves specific entry processes and visa requirements. All foreign tourists, except for Indian, Bangladeshi, and Maldivian nationals, must obtain a visa before entering the country. Typically, the visa application is processed through an authorized travel agency in Bhutan. Visitors must submit their passport information, itinerary, and payment for the daily tariff. The government encourages travelers to book their trips through licensed tour operators who facilitate the visa application process and provide a comprehensive itinerary that adheres to Bhutan's tourism policy. Additionally, travelers must show proof of onward travel and sufficient funds to support their stay. One of Bhutan's most iconic landmarks is the Tiger's Nest Monastery, or Paro Taksang, perched precariously on a cliff at an altitude of 3,120 meters. This sacred site is believed to be where Guru Rinpoche meditated and subdued local demons in the 8th century. The monastery complex features several temples adorned with intricate carvings and beautiful frescoes. Visitors must trek approximately 5 kilometers to reach the monastery, making the journey itself a remarkable experience with stunning views of the Paro Valley and surrounding mountains. Punakha Dzong, located at the confluence of the Pho Chu and Mo Chu rivers, is known for its breathtaking architecture and stunning scenery. Built in 1637, it served as the administrative center and religious headquarters of Bhutan until 1955. The Dzong is a prime example of traditional Bhutanese architecture, featuring ornate woodwork and intricate murals. Another significant Dzong is Rinpung Dzong, located in Paro. Renowned for its beautiful wooden bridge, it serves as a center for monastic education. Both Dzongs play a vital role in Bhutan's spiritual and administrative life and are popular attractions for tourists seeking to understand Bhutanese culture. Bhutan is also famous for its vibrant festivals, known as Chekas, which take place throughout the year in various regions. These festivals celebrate Buddhist teachings and historical events, featuring colorful dances, music, and the unfurling of large thangkas, or religious banners. The Paro Tsechu is among the most celebrated, drawing thousands of locals and visitors alike. Spiritual retreats are popular among tourists. Monasteries and retreat centers across Bhutan offer meditation programs, teachings, and opportunities for personal reflection, allowing visitors to immerse themselves in the country's spiritual heritage. Bhutan boasts some of the most stunning trekking trails in the Himalayas. The Snowman Trek is one of the most challenging treks globally, taking trekkers through remote regions, high mountain passes, and pristine landscapes. Typically lasting 25 days, this trek covers 300 kilometers and reaches elevations of over 5,000 meters. On the other hand, the Jomolhari Trek is a more accessible option that showcases Bhutan's natural beauty, offering views of Jomolhari Mountain, which stands at 7,314 meters. This trek usually lasts 8 to 10 days, making it popular among tourists seeking breathtaking scenery without the extreme challenges of longer treks. To provide a deeper understanding of Bhutanese culture, many travelers opt to stay in traditional homestays in rural villages. This experience allows visitors to engage with local families, participate in daily activities, and learn about traditional customs and practices. Homestays provide an opportunity to enjoy authentic Bhutanese meals and participate in community events. Bhutan is renowned for its traditional arts and crafts, and tourists can participate in workshops teaching various skills, such as thangka painting, weaving, and pottery. These workshops, often held in collaboration with local artisans, offer visitors hands-on experiences while supporting the local economy. For those seeking a more profound spiritual experience, Bhutan offers opportunities for monastery stays and meditation retreats. Visitors can spend time in serene monasteries, participating in daily rituals, meditation sessions, and teachings from monks. These retreats allow tourists to disconnect from the hustle and bustle of everyday life and reconnect with their inner selves in a tranquil setting. Bhutan exemplifies how a nation can harmoniously weave its rich cultural heritage and spiritual values into a modern development framework. Its commitment to gross national happiness demonstrates a focus on the well-being of its citizens rather than merely chasing economic growth. The country's approach to tourism, education, and environmental protection highlights its ability to balance tradition and modernity. By prioritizing high-value, low-impact tourism, Bhutan not only safeguards its cultural identity, but also promotes sustainable practices. This model provides a valuable blueprint for other nations aspiring to develop their tourism sectors responsibly. As Bhutan charts its path forward, it remains steadfast in its philosophy of gross national happiness, emphasizing the holistic development of its people. The government's efforts to preserve its unique cultural practices and pristine natural environment will be vital in ensuring that future generations can thrive in a balanced society. Bhutan's remarkable achievements in environmental protection and sustainable development have garnered international acclaim. Its distinction as the world's first carbon-negative nation positions it as a leader in global sustainability initiatives, inspiring other countries to prioritize environmental conservation. And if you want to discover another country that is unique in the world, visit our Others video. Write in the comments about other curiosities if you have visited Israel. Give us a like if you enjoyed it, and subscribe with the notification bell.